Okay, I have this first act guitar and it had this broken pickup. The main thing I want to do is fix the hole on the pickup. Main way to do that is get a piece of plastic, make sure it's thick, rigid but bendable. Cut it with your tin snips and a plastic cutting saw blade. I'm going to sand down the surface to make sure it's totally clean. Just make sure there's no plastic dust on it. You get your glue. You want to make sure that the spring has to be pushing against the top. Make the hole first, then screw it in, and then glue it. So you can make sure that it's going to line up perfectly. And also you can hold the plastic to the pickup with the screw and the spring while the glue dries. And it's easier to make the hole fit perfectly that way. I'm going to use a melting technique instead of just a drilling technique. That makes it fit very, very snugly. I'm ready to make the hole. I need to get this screw so I can heat it up red hot and poke it through a smaller hole in a piece of plastic. Then I'm gonna glue it. It should be really strong and still be possible to raise up and down. In fact, I had the same problem with this Fender pickup. It had stripped threads, and I used the same technique to fix this pickup, so I know it works. You can see there, this square is actually glued on. It is adjusting okay, and it does seem to be really strong. Got the screw with this spring. First thing I want to do is just put a small guide hole in the very center of this piece of plastic. A hole that's a little bit too small for this screw to fit into. So then I'll get the screw red hot and very carefully put it about halfway through while it melts in and let it cool off, and then screw it in that way. It should be like a airtight, watertight kind of a seal. Okay, to get it centered, take something really sharp or a marker. Use this as a guide against the back. I'll remember, this side goes against the pickup. If that, see what kind of a drill bit you want. I can line this up. I can see that this is not going to make a hole that's too big to screw into. So we'll start with making a hole with this. Definitely not fitting. It's somewhere close. I really can't force it, but I'm gonna melt it in there carefully. Okay, the best way to do this part is very carefully. So you do not want to drop a red hot screw on your foot or on the floor or on your cat or a nice furniture. Make sure you got good firm hold on it. Imagine ahead of time, if you're doing this, how careful you want to be, but it's got a clear starting hole. It just can't get through. So we're gonna get this red hot, put that down, pick this up. Using the torch, definitely gotta be the funnest part. 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. That's about as hot as it's gonna get, probably hotter than it needs to be. Okay, do not burn your hands. And just be very gentle, take it nice and slow. Set it in the hole that you made. Grip it nice and tight, but don't push hard. The worst thing that can happen, aside from burning yourself, is that you're just going to have to cut a new piece of plastic if you get it too hot and melt it too much. Or if you don't get it hot enough, it won't go in there. So I have to go maybe more than 16 seconds. Turn out the lights so I can see it glow when it does get hot. It doesn't have to be red hot when you try to melt the plastic, but you know that it's definitely hot enough when it gets red hot, and then you can give it a couple seconds to cool down after that. But now I'm trying to be safe here, trying to be smart, trying to get what I'm doing to actually be visible on the camera. Right there in the flame. Right in it. Can't see it on camera. I don't know if this is gonna be hot enough. Oh, there it is. I can see it melting in. So just get it to stick about halfway. And that's just like as tight as it can be. Definitely be able to finish screwing it through there. But you don't want to overdo it, and you just don't want to burn yourself. Putting the original pickup back where it was. Put the cover back on. Make sure you get as much wire as you can into the solder. Okay, when you tape it up, make sure that the positive and negative are not going to touch. It's nice if you have a little plastic zip tie. Now it's ready to get a new piece glued onto it. Okay, that should actually be strong enough by itself. I still think it's better to put a little bit of super glue on it at least. Okay, now it's all soldered up and all taped up. And I got the wires tucked away, nice and neat. And looks like the glue is holding nicely and everything.